As we look at the winter solstice, we have declared, guys, in Jerusalem, time will be measured. Our friends went to London, and you can see this shirt, the prime meridian of the world. Now, of course, most people go by London or Greenwich time, by which all the world's time is calculated. But we've declared time in Jerusalem, the city of the great king. Now, guys, what we're doing is we're saying that Jerusalem is the center of time. Jerusalem is the place that time must be measured. And we're measuring time according to the Enoch calendar. And that being said, Enoch's calendar recognizes the solstice and equinox cycles. Here in Jerusalem, we're observing the cycles of the winter solstice. And it appears that in our observations that you'll see, it appears to be sooner than we expected. Typically on December 21st is the day of the winter solstice. Sometimes it could be the 22nd day, but it appears to be early. It looked like December 20th. Now, let's just do a quick explanation for you on how the winter solstice works. And we're just doing this to raise awareness, guys, for everybody around the world to measure the solstice, measure the equinox where you are, and let's just share our findings, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're sharing our findings. Now, how it works is this. The word solstice in English is sol, sun. Stis is still. And in the Bible, we have the story of Joshua where it says the sun stood still. Joshua was fighting the battle, and the sun stood to maintain the sunlight so that they could defeat the enemies. What's interesting enough about that story is one of the enemies is Adonai-Zedek, the king of Jerusalem. Okay? And of course, in Jerusalem is the city of the great king and the place that time must be measured. So, how do we measure the solstice? Well, in the winter solstice, what happens is the sun moves on a sundial, or it moves on a point where it casts a shadow, okay? The shadow that's being cast reaches its farthest point, and then it stops. Solstice, sun still. It stays in that one position 3 days. So the shadow will stay in one position for 3 days. That third day is the solstice. Then what happens is the sun will then move its shadow back, okay, and in doing so, the sun is now rising on the horizon. So the sun is at its lowest point on the horizon in the northern hemisphere on the winter solstice, okay? Then what happens is it goes to the spring equinox, the day of equal daylight sunlight, and then it's highest in the horizon in the summer solstice. Summer solstice, sun still. So, in Jerusalem, we're making some observations to look at the solstice. And we're going to share those with you because it does appear early to us. Now, we don't have, of course, the most accurate measurements to share with you. We're raising awareness. We want you to learn this and test it everywhere you are in these days that lead up to the solstice and equinox. Why? Because it says, the days will be shortened for the elect's sake. Of course, we believe Enoch is the elected. It might just be that some of the things that we've seen even in our time may change, okay? So that's where we're making these observations. So we observed 3 days of the sun being in one position. We'll show you. It's on a 5 on this sundial. Then it appeared, it's more so to the naked eye than what we can convey in a camera. Then it appeared to return. So it cast its shadow, which reached its point in 3 days, and then the sun began to return. It's very, very small measurements, and how we've known more about this, we probably would have done a little bit better observation, but this is what we had is this sundial here in Jerusalem, and we're going to show you this. So we're going to show you each day that we made some video and observations so you can see what we're looking at, and then kind of judge for yourself. But then also, let's all do this, guys. Let's measure the equinox that's coming up in the spring, and let's see if everything is coming the way it should, okay? And But let's take a look at some of the video here of the sundial here in Jerusalem. Okay, all right, guys, we're here in Qumran, and this is the sundial. It's a replica sundial. The original is much smaller. We have a little display, which you can see here. And here in Qumran, they instituted the Enoch calendar. Now, the reason we're showing you this sundial is that we've made observances in Jerusalem of the winter solstice. And we're going to show you those observances, and we're doing this to raise awareness that the solstice in the summer and the winter and the equinox in the spring and the fall are part of the Enoch calendar, okay? And this sundial here is just a replica. Right now we don't have sun, but the reason it's significant is because the Enoch calendar was used. The Enoch calendar shows us these significant days, the 31st day of the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th months. Now, those months have that 31st day, which the equinox and solstice doesn't fall there precisely. However, we are measuring this and we are seeing some interesting things in Jerusalem, and we're going to share our findings. And we're doing this for everyone to be witnesses, to test, to see and make sure that the signs in the heavens will appear in their due season, okay? And so that's what we're looking at, and we're going to show you the footage in Jerusalem of the winter solstice as seen from Jerusalem. We have some observations today. I don't really have the words to put together at this moment. I'm going to make this video, I'm going to do some more research, I'll explain a little more as we go. But guys, we're here at the precise moment of the measurements of trying to determine the winter solstice. Okay, we're just a little past. We have 2 bars here. There's a slight difference here. We'll show you the footage. But essentially, it is at the time of this recording, December 21st. Okay, we've seen a movement of the sun to the south on a shadow. That's the day after the winter solstice. So that means the winter solstice was yesterday. We'll be able to show you footage of each day observing the solstice. What happens is the sun stands still for 3 days. After 3 days, when it moves, okay, that 3rd day is the solstice. So we have recorded the winter solstice as being a day early, coming on December 20th. So we're here in Jerusalem, we're here at the sundial, we've made our measurements, we've made our observations, and we've put together this information with time-lapse video, and we can see precisely this shadow that we'll show you, okay? And this has happened, guys. The winter solstice is a day early, so times are changing, and amazing things are happening, but we're gonna have to just show you all the information that we have and explain more later. Here's our observations of the sundial, and what we have here is a time-lapse video which allows you to see the sun moving through this hole in the sundial, casting a shadow. And what we're observing is the shadow you see right now. That's high noon. And this is the point by which we're measuring the winter solstice. Now, what we're trying to do is really measure something very, very fine, and we, apologize if we don't have the most accurate, instruments or tools, but this is essentially what we are dealing with. And another example on another day. Now, with what we're looking at here, we're certainly not expecting you to make a judgment on the solstice based on this time lapse. We're just showing you the hole passing through the sundial, casting a shadow, and essentially the solstice circle that you see that comes through and casts this shadow would look something like this. This is an example of the autumnal equinox. We were in Jerusalem. This is the autumnal equinox, and essentially the sundial would make this circle
and cast this over this ball, which would then mark the center of the equinox, okay? So now we're doing the same thing in the winter, and in the winter, we have to observe this over several days. So let's look at the days and show you, these are the days here, but let's go back. The first day that we're making this observation, we can see the date here, December 15th. So in December 15th, I was quite surprised to see, we're late. The light here should be over the ball, but we're late. We're about 15 minutes late. And I was quite surprised to see that the amount of, light that is cast through over the ball looked to me exactly like what I saw in that other photograph in the fall. So this was the first day that we began to make observations. Again, December 15th. We were unable to get any readings the second day, but you can see this is day 3. And we have this, what I'm going to try and do is align this for you. High noon, okay, this is high noon where the light is casting a shadow. And this shadow you can see is coming very, very close to this 5. See that? So we have the light coming here, casting this round shadow, and what we're observing and measuring is this distance here, and the shadow going into this 5. Now there's a slight raised portion here of the granite maintaining this line, so you have to use your eye a little bit. Now, the reason I'm doing this is that with the naked eye, it appeared to me that the winter solstice came a day early. Okay, so that was day 3. This is day 4. And again, we have the sun casting this shadow and coming, of course, very, very close here. Now, what it will do, as it casts this shadow, it will reach a point where it will maintain this shadow for a period of 3 days. After which, the shadow will then move, and when it moves, the previous day is your solstice. Okay, so here you can see December 19th, and we're looking at something to us that appeared the same. Now it appears to be standing still, or the sun stands still, solstice, okay? So that's what we're looking at, is that these particular days seem just so close that it's already within the 3 days when the sun stands still. The third day is the solstice. Okay? And again, see this? This is what we're marking. All right? And then again, we have the same thing. Okay? Now these 3 days look to us to be the same. Then this is the part right here. When we get to this next day, our day 6, or this is the 20th as well. This is the 6th day of observation, and again, it looks really close. And guys, I understand if this is, not the most accurate reading. I understand that, but from the naked eye, it appeared that on this day, day 7, the shadow was casting back. Okay. Now, this may not convey in the video, but this appeared to us that the space here and here, that the shadow is moving this way. What that means is that the solstice would have occurred the previous day. You see the date on this photograph is December 21st. Now, that's the day after the solstice. So you can see day 7 of our observation, all right, our day 6, this reading here appeared to be at still, and then the next day it it appears to move back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some clips of this, all right, and show you more accurate readings of these days, because I certainly appreciate that, you know, some of what I'm showing you here is, of course, I have my tablet, I'm showing you the record of the photographs, but when you look at this live, you get a little bit better idea of what this looks like. I just want to go through the various days of our observations, and it was quite extraordinary just to have sunlight. It's been raining a lot in Jerusalem at the time we were doing this. But here you can see the sun is moving, and the shadow is now moving back. Okay, it's very slight. Okay, but that's our day 8. This is, again, our day 8 reading. Same thing, it's beginning to move back. And then here's day 10. Again, it's moving back, but just very, very slight view. So let's show you a couple clips. In the clips, we'll mention the date when it's taking place. We're making observations of the winter solstice. We have a lot of cloud cover. It's a little bit difficult, but we're praying for the heavens to be opened and that we'll be able to observe the equinox, the solstice. We're getting lots of cloud cover, and the point by which the sun does come through, we can see we're just about now at high noon, but our reading is coming and going. What we're looking at is we're looking for the sun to pass through, hit this ball, and our marker is the very top line of this 5. This is what we can show you in photographs. We've seen this same place for a few days. The 3rd day would be the solstice. We have some good weather and some of the days that we had previously, and we're hoping for that for just at this time. Okay, we're getting some thicker clouds, and it looks like we're going to get some blue, and we'll get some more evidence of this. Okay, here we have some good light, and this appears to be going back from our other readings. We'll show you evidence of that. It's very challenging to see. We just have just a lip, just a line right here, and that's what we're observing. Okay guys, we're here. We have the winter solstice. See our mark on the 5? This is actually the day after the winter solstice. So what's happened is we're right at high noon. Now, from our mark, previous mark yesterday, the sun is coming this way, projecting off the ball on the top of the 5. We looked at this yesterday, and now what's happened, this mark has moved to the south, has moved in this direction, meaning the summer solstice would have happened the previous day. We got readings the previous day and the day before that at the same mark. Now, in addition to this, we have on our sundial, we're right at high noon. Okay, we have a mark over there. We have another one right here, and we're precisely high noon. And when we compare this distance between the top of the 5 and the bottom of the shadow, it has now moved in this direction, meaning it's the day after the solstice. Here we're perfectly high noon. As we can see, the bars lining up with the marks on the sundial. The marker here lined up with that ball. So this is high noon. This is the precise moment. And again, we do have the cast shadow on the top of the 5, meaning the sun has moved in this direction, meaning the solstice was yesterday.
So there we have it. Now, as we close, we just want to mention, as we've talked to you before, about the tafika, and these are the ribbons, 4 ribbons around the 4 corners of your garments. And we're looking at these as, you know, drawing the line, the ribbon, over time, over Jerusalem, okay? And that's, of course, we have another video on that. We share these tafukas, and what that means is we would remember these to let not our heart go astray, according to Numbers chapter 15. And, of course, we believe that these are markers, the circuits. There's 4 circuits of the year. And these are these cycles, and there would be 2 equinoxes, 2 days equal sunlight, daylight. There would be 2 solstices, you know, one casting its shadow the longest and one the shortest. So guys, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a situation here where time may be changing from what we expected. So we need to make observations. We're making observations. All things should point to the correct time, to the correct feast times, so that we know those precise prophetic days. So guys, thanks for watching. Just in case anyone will correct me, I said Jerusalem before, but really the background of what you're looking at here is the Dead Sea. It's not Jerusalem. But we're here in the land of Israel, and we're making these observations in the winter solstice. So thanks for watching. If you're not familiar with the Enoch calendar, I have a whole playlist on the Enoch calendar, and it is the calendar that's necessary for us to measure the prophetic time, 1,260 days. Those are prophetic days, but those are 360 days in a year. But then if we apply these 4 days, these 4 solar days, then we have 364, which is exactly what the Enoch calendar says. So guys, thanks for watching. And let's watch and pray. Let's watch these things. Let's make observances. I encourage you to, you know, prepare for the spring equinox that's coming up. Spring equinox coming up. To measure it in your location, to see, of course, when it takes place, and to see what day, when it happens. Okay. So God bless you, and. Again, please be sure to watch some of these other videos in the description field and in the playlist. Amen.